When 12-year-old Marcus Thompson presents his hero project about his father, a 4-star general, his teacher publicly tears up his poster, accusing him of stolen valor. People from neighborhoods like yours don't become generals. She sneers in front of 27 classmates. Marcus insists it's true, but no one believes him. Then his mother arrives with an attorney, military officers walk through the door, and finally General David Thompson himself appears. 4 stars gleaming on his shoulders. What happens next will leave you speechless. Hey family, welcome to Real Life Heart Stories. Please subscribe and give this video a like. It truly means the world to us. Don't forget to share it with your friends and loved ones, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a new upload. Thank you so much for the support. Now, sit back, relax, and let's dive into today's story. Marcus Thompson stood at the front of room 204, holding his project poster. 27 7th graders stared at him. The poster showed a black man in military uniform, for silver stars on each shoulder. "This is my hero," Marcus began. "My dad, General David Thompson. He's been in the army for—" "Stop right there." Mrs. Patterson's voice cut through the room. She walked toward him, heels clicking. "Let me see that." Marcus handed her the poster, his hands trembling. Mrs. Patterson studied it, then laughed. Not a kind laugh. "Class, this is pathological lying." "Marcus, do you think we're stupid? There are only 9 4-star generals in the entire United States. But my dad really is." "Enough." She gripped the poster with both hands. "This is stolen valor. A federal crime." She ripped it in half. The sound echoed in the silent classroom. She tore it again. Pieces of his father's face scattered across the floor. Marcus felt his throat tighten. "I can call him right now. He's at the Pentagon. I can prove it." Mrs. Patterson dropped the pieces at his feet. "I've been teaching 15 years. People from neighborhoods like yours don't just become 4-star generals." Someone snickered. Marcus heard whispers. His face burned. "What does my neighborhood have to do with anything?" Marcus asked. "Don't be smart with me. Pick up this mess and go to Principal Barnes's office. Now." Marcus bent down, gathering the torn pieces. He'd spent 2 weeks on this project. His mom had helped after her 12-hour nursing shift. "You didn't ask Emily for proof," Marcus said quietly. "You didn't ask Ryan. You just believed them. Because they weren't making ridiculous claims." "Office. Now." Marcus walked out. The door closed behind him, and he heard laughter. His phone buzzed. A text from his mom. "How did it go, baby?" Marcus typed back. "She called me a liar." She tore it up. 3 dots appeared. "I'm on my way. Don't worry." Marcus walked down the empty hallway, the torn pieces in his pocket. He didn't know that in 3 hours, everything would change. If you've ever been told your truth was a lie because of how you looked, drop a comment below. And subscribe because you need to hear what happens next. Principal Richard Barnes sat behind his desk like a judge. Marcus sat across from him, small in the wooden chair. The pink referral slip lay between them. "Marcus, this is the 3rd time this semester," Principal Barnes sighed. "Sir, that's not fair. The first time, Mrs. Patterson said my essay was plagiarized, but I wrote it myself. The second time, and now this, academic dishonesty, disrespect to a teacher. I didn't do anything wrong. I was telling the truth about my dad." Principal Barnes leaned back. "Marcus, Mrs. Patterson is an excellent teacher. 15 years of experience. She knows when students exaggerate." "I'm not exaggerating. My dad is a general. Call him. Call Fort Bragg. Anyone can program a number into their phone, Marcus." "Then what do you want me to do? Be honest. You wanted to impress your classmates. We all exaggerate sometimes." "I'm not lying." Principal Barnes opened a file on his computer. "You qualify for free lunch, correct?" Marcus's stomach dropped. "That was supposed to be confidential. Your mother works as a nurse. Night shifts. Your address is River Heights Apartments. 4-star generals make very good money. Their families don't qualify for free lunch. My mom works because she likes her job. What's wrong with River Heights? I'm trying to help you understand reality. Your story doesn't match your circumstances. You mean it doesn't match what you think black people can be? The office went silent. That's a serious accusation, Principal Barnes said, his face reddening. My dad grew up poor. He joined the army at 18. He worked his way up. You're saying that's impossible because we don't live in a mansion? The door burst open. Voices echoed through the walls. One was Marcus's mother. I need to see my son. Now. Principal Barnes stood. Excuse me. He stepped out. Through the open door, Marcus saw his mother in blue nursing scrubs. Next to her stood a woman in a dark business suit carrying a briefcase. Mrs. Thompson, calm down, Principal Barnes said. Calm down. Rachel Thompson's voice was sharp. Your teacher humiliated my 12-year-old son. The woman in the suit stepped forward. Principal Barnes, I'm Margaret Chen, attorney. We need to talk about discrimination at this school. Principal Barnes paled. Discrimination. 6 military families. 14 complaints over 18 months. All involving the same teacher. All dismissed without investigation. Marcus watched from the office. His mother had brought a lawyer. You're going to let me see my son, Rachel said steadily. Then we're having a conversation about what happens next. Principal Barnes looked like he wanted to disappear. Rachel Thompson walked into the office and knelt beside Marcus. You okay, baby? Marcus shook his head. The tears came. She tore it up, Mom. In front of everyone. Rachel pulled him into a hug. I know, but it's going to be okay. Principal Barnes cleared his throat. Mrs. Thompson, if we could discuss this calmly. Calmly? Rachel stood. Let's be calm about your teacher accusing my child of a federal crime based on prejudice. Margaret Chen sat down, pulling out a legal pad. Principal Barnes, Mrs. Thompson filed 3 complaints about Mrs. Patterson. Did you investigate any? We spoke to Mrs. Patterson about. Did you speak to witnesses? Review Marcus's work? Document anything? Principal Barnes sat down heavily. Mrs. Patterson is a veteran teacher. We take her concerns seriously. But not parents' concerns? Margaret's pen scratched. Let me tell you about Major Dawson's daughter. Last October, Mrs. Patterson told her people like her father don't become officers. Major Dawson is a West Point graduate. You dismissed his complaint. I don't recall. Sergeant Major Torres's son. Accused of plagiarism on a military tactics essay. His father teaches at the Army War College. Dismissed. Principal Barnes was sweating. Captain Morrison's daughter wore her father's unit patch. Mrs. Patterson confiscated it. Dismissed. These cases are different. They're identical, Rachel said. Black and brown kids with military parents. Mrs. Patterson decided they were lying because we don't fit her picture of military families. Marcus watched his mother. She was always soft with him, but now she looked like a warrior. Rachel's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and her expression shifted. She looked at Principal Barnes. Look up the chain of command at Fort Bragg. Look up the commanding general. Now. Why would I? Just do it. Something in her tone made Principal Barnes turn to his computer. He typed. His face went white. This says there's a General David Thompson listed as Deputy Chief of Staff. Pentagon. For stars, Rachel finished. That's my husband. That's Marcus's father. That's the man your teacher accused my son of lying about. Principal Barnes stared at the screen. The secretary knocked. Sir, there are military personnel here. Officers. They're asking for you. Margaret Chen smiled. That would be the formal inquiry. The military takes defamation seriously. Principal Barnes sank into his chair. I didn't know. You should have checked, Rachel said. You should have done your job instead of assuming my son was lying because of his skin color. Hit subscribe to see what happens when the military shows up. You don't want to miss this. Lieutenant Colonel James Anderson walked into the office like he owned it. Behind him came a woman with 2 silver stars on her shoulders. Principal Barnes, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Anderson, aide to General David Thompson. This is Major General Patricia Brooks. Principal Barnes stood quickly. When a general enters, you stand. General Brooks, I didn't expect. No, you didn't. Major General Brooks looked at Marcus. Her expression softened briefly. You must be Marcus. Then she turned to Principal Barnes, the softness vanishing. Sit down. Anderson opened his briefcase, pulled out a tablet. At approximately 2:15 this afternoon, a teacher here publicly accused Marcus Thompson of a federal crime. She humiliated him in front of 27 witnesses. She destroyed his property. He turned the tablet. It showed video from the classroom. Marcus recognized the angle. Terrell must have recorded it. The video showed Mrs. Patterson holding the poster. People from neighborhoods like yours don't just become four-star generals. Then she ripped it. This is General David Thompson, Anderson said, pointing to the photo. 4 stars. 28 years of service. Bronze Star. Purple Heart. Currently Deputy Chief of Staff for Strategic Plans and Policy. He advises the Joint Chiefs. He briefs the President. Principal Barnes looked sick. I didn't know. You didn't check, Major General Brooks said. You didn't verify. You assumed a black child from a working-class neighborhood was lying. Anderson swiped to another document. October 15th. Major Dawson's daughter. Mrs. Patterson told her people like your father don't become officers. Major Dawson is a West Point graduate. He swiped again. November 2nd. Sergeant Major Torres's son. Accused of plagiarism because the writing was too sophisticated for his demographic. December 3rd. My daughter. Mrs. Patterson confiscated her backpack because she wore her father's unit patch. Anderson's voice was tight now. Every complaint was filed with you. Everyone was dismissed. Where is Mrs. Patterson? Major General Brooks asked. In her classroom, Principal Barnes whispered. Get her. Now. The secretary ran. Rachel put her hand on Marcus's shoulder. The door opened. Mrs. Patterson walked in, expecting a routine meeting. Then she saw the uniforms and froze. Mrs. Patricia Patterson? Anderson asked. Yes. We need to discuss what happened in your classroom today. Mrs. Patterson's eyes darted to Principal Barnes. He wouldn't look at her. The student was making claims that seemed exaggerated. By assuming he was lying, Major General Brooks stepped closer. By destroying his property. I didn't know his father was actually what? Rachel's voice was sharp. Actually a general? Why didn't you check? Students exaggerate all the time. But you believed the white students immediately, Margaret said. Emily's father. Ryan's father. No questions. Why? Mrs. Patterson had no answer. Because Marcus is black, Major General Brooks said. Because he lives in subsidized housing. Because you decided those facts meant he couldn't be telling the truth. What happens now? Principal Barnes asked quietly. Now, Major General Brooks said. We wait for General Thompson. The office went silent. General Thompson is coming here? Mrs. Patterson's voice shook. 20 minutes out, Anderson said, checking his phone. Mrs. Patterson sank into a chair. Principal Barnes loosened his tie. Rachel squeezed Marcus's shoulder. Your dad dropped everything. While we wait, Major General Brooks said. Let's discuss the documented pattern. Anderson pulled out a folder. Fort Bragg's JAG office reviewed all complaints from military families at this school. He began reading. Each incident landed like a hammer. January 12th. Lieutenant Colonel Wilson's son. Told his father probably wasn't a real officer. February 8th. Staff Sergeant Martinez's daughter. Accused of stealing when she wore military insignia. March 15th. Colonel Freeman's son. Detention for correcting Mrs. Patterson on military history. The list continued. 12 families. 18 incidents. All military families of color. Every complaint was filed with you, Principal Barnes, Major General Brooks said. Everyone dismissed. I thought. Principal Barnes couldn't finish. You believed her because it was easier, Rachel said. Easier than confronting discrimination. Mrs. Patterson was crying. I never meant to hurt anyone. You told the whole class I was a liar. Marcus spoke for the first time. Everyone turned. You said people from my neighborhood don't become generals. You didn't let me finish. You decided I was lying before I said 10 words. His voice was quiet but steady. When Emily talked about her dad, you smiled. When Ryan talked about his dad, you applauded. But when I talked about mine, you laughed. Tears ran down his face. You made everyone laugh at me. You made me pick up pieces of my dad's picture off the floor. Do you know how that felt? The office was silent. I'm 12 years old, and you taught me that no matter how true something is, people won't believe me because of how I look. Mrs. Patterson buried her face in her hands. The door opened. The secretary's eyes were wide. He's here. Everyone stood. Through the window, Marcus saw a black SUV. 3 men in suits got out first. Then the back door opened. General David Thompson stepped out. For silver stars gleamed on each shoulder. Ribbons covered his chest. Bronze Star, Purple Heart, Legion of Merit. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with silver at his temples. But when he walked through that door and saw Marcus, all that command presence melted. Marcus! Marcus ran. His father caught him, lifted him despite Marcus being 12 and almost as tall as his mother. I know, son, General Thompson said quietly. I heard everything. I'm here. Marcus cried into his father's uniform. She said you weren't real. I know. His voice was gentle. But you told the truth. You did everything right. What she did, that's on her. Not you. He set Marcus down, hands on his shoulders. You understand? Marcus nodded. Then General Thompson turned to Mrs. Patterson. The gentle father vanished. In his place stood a 4-star general. Ma'am, my son worships me. He tells everyone about my job because I taught him to be proud of service. You took that pride and destroyed it. Mrs. Patterson couldn't look at him. You accused him of lying of a federal crime, based on what? His skin color? His address? General, I didn't know. You didn't know because you didn't check. You looked at my son and decided he was lying. That's not ignorance. That's racism. The word hung in the air. Don't go anywhere. What happens next will shock you. General Thompson pulled out his phone. The screen showed Marcus at 8 years old, standing at the Pentagon, saluting. This is my son at his first Pentagon visit. He asked if he could be a general too. I said yes. I said he could be anything. I told him the world was open to him. He lowered the phone. And you tried to teach him different. You tried to teach him his dreams don't matter. I'm so sorry, Mrs. Patterson sobbed. Sorry doesn't fix what you did, Rachel said. Sorry doesn't undo months of discrimination. General Thompson turned to Principal Barnes. You received multiple complaints. You dismissed everyone. You enabled this. I didn't understand. Then you should have looked harder. That's your job, to protect all students. Major General Brooks stepped forward. General Thompson, we've documented everything. JAG is prepared to investigate. Good. This affects every child of color in this school. He looked at Marcus. Son, people will doubt you sometimes. They'll doubt you because of your skin color, where you're from. That's their failure, not yours. You hold your head up. You tell your truth. You let them be wrong. Yes, sir, Marcus said. General Thompson reached into his briefcase. He pulled out something wrapped in plastic. A new poster, professionally printed and laminated. His official Pentagon photo, 4 stars gleaming, Department of Defense seal in the corner. For your project, he said. I expect an A+. Marcus took it with shaking hands. Now let's discuss consequences. Margaret Chin opened her legal pad. The school board has been notified. Emergency meeting tonight. Mrs. Patterson, Major General Brooks said, you'll be placed on immediate administrative leave pending investigation. Principal Barnes, Anderson added, your failure to investigate represents administrative negligence. That will also be reviewed. We're exploring civil rights violations and a full audit of disciplinary practices, Margaret said. Please, Can't we resolve this quietly? Principal Barnes asked. Quietly? Rachel laughed sharply. My son was humiliated publicly. The resolution will be public too. General Thompson knelt beside Marcus. Son, I need to talk to your class. Would that be okay? Marcus's eyes widened. You want to talk to my class? Yes, if you're comfortable. Marcus nodded. Okay. Good man. General Thompson stood. Room 204. Now. Room 204 fell silent when General Thompson walked in. 27 seventh graders stared. None had seen 4 stars before. Marcus walked in behind his father with the new poster. Terrell gave a thumbs up. Keisha smiled. Please sit, General Thompson said gently. My name is General David Thompson. I'm Marcus's father. I'm here because something happened in this room that should never happen. He stood at the front, talking to them like adults. How many of you believed Marcus was lying? Silence. Then hands went up. 5, 7, 10, 12. Thank you for being honest. Why? Long pause. Then Ryan spoke. Because generals are important. And Marcus is just regular. Regular. What does that mean? Normal. Like us. You mean not rich? You mean black? Ryan squirmed. I guess. Important people look like everyone, General Thompson said. I grew up in Detroit. My mother cleaned houses. My father left when I was 6. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with 6 people. I qualified for free lunch. The students leaned forward. When I told my 7th grade teacher I wanted to join the military, he said people like me end up in jail. He said I should know my place. The classroom was silent. What did you do? Keisha asked softly. I proved him wrong. I enlisted at 18. Earned my degree while serving. Got my commission. Worked harder than everyone because I had to. People were always assuming I didn't belong. He looked at Marcus. Now my son has to do the same. General Thompson, I laughed yesterday, Emily said quietly. I'm really sorry. Why? Because everyone else was. I didn't know what else to do. He nodded. That's the problem. When you see injustice and laugh because everyone else is, you become part of it. When you stay silent because it's easier, you're choosing a side. He walked to the board, wrote 3 words. See, speak, stand. When you see injustice, speak up. When you speak up, stand firm. Even when adults are wrong. He turned. 3 of you did something different. Terrell, you recorded it. That's evidence. Keisha, you texted your mother on the school board. Jake, you gave a statement. The 3 looked surprised. You used your voices. That matters. I should have said something during class, Jake said. Yes, but you said something after. That counts. The question is, what will you do next time? He looked around. What happened wasn't just mean. It was racism. That word makes people uncomfortable, but we need to say it. Mrs. Patterson treated Marcus differently because of his skin color. That's racism. But what can we do? Emily asked. We're just kids. Just kids? Terrell recorded evidence. Keisha called for help. Jake told the truth. You're exactly what this world needs. He handed the marker to Marcus. Son, finish your presentation. Marcus stood. His hands still shook, but he walked to the front. He held up the new poster. This is my dad, General David Thompson, 28 years in the Army. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Bronze Star, Purple Heart. He works at the Pentagon. He paused. Yesterday I was ashamed, but not anymore. I'm proud of my dad. I'm proud of where I come from. And nobody gets to take that away. Terrell started clapping. Then Keisha. Then Jake. The whole class stood, applauding. Marcus looked at his father. General Thompson nodded once. Proud. Leave a comment if this moved you. Subscribe because the ending changes everything. 6 months later, Marcus walked through Jefferson Middle School's halls. Everything felt different. The second-floor hallway was now the Hall of Heroes. 43 posters lined the walls. Firefighters, nurses, police officers, soldiers. Every color. His father's poster hung in the center, 4 stars under protective glass. Mrs. Patterson was gone. License revoked. She'd never teach again. Principal Barnes worked in insurance somewhere else. Dr. Sandra Williams, the new principal, had served 15 years in the Air Force. She knew military families. Under Dr. Williams, everything changed. The school hired a military family liaison. Staff completed bias training. A new complaint system was implemented. Disciplinary referrals for black students dropped 64%. Not because students changed, but because the system did. Marcus's classroom was different. Ms. Rodriguez taught AP History full-time now. Her class doubled in size. Terrell got an A on his last essay. Keisha raised her hand in every class. Marcus was top of his grade. Emily and Ryan had apologized genuinely. They'd written letters to Marcus, to the school board, admitting what they'd done. Marcus had accepted. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting. The video Terrell recorded went viral. 4.2 million views. #BelieveBlackChildren trended for 3 days. Parents everywhere shared similar stories. The Department of Education investigated. They found the pattern wasn't unique. Dozens of schools had similar issues. The investigation led to district-wide reforms. Marcus stood before his father's poster. His phone buzzed. A message from his dad, deployed overseas. "Proud of you, son." Marcus smiled. "Always, Dad." A reporter had interviewed him last month. She'd asked what he learned. "I learned my truth matters, even when people don't believe it. I learned staying silent makes you part of the problem. And change doesn't just come from people with power. It comes from people who refuse to accept injustice." What would you say to other kids going through this? Marcus looked at the camera. Document everything. Tell someone who'll listen. Don't let them make you doubt yourself. Just because someone has authority doesn't mean they're right. But standing in the hallway now, Marcus thought about something that bothered him. His father had rank. For stars. He'd walked in with generals and attorneys, and people had to listen. But what about thousands of black children whose parents weren't generals? Whose fathers didn't have stars or medals or power? Their truth mattered just as much. That's where people like Terrell came in. Keisha, Jake, ordinary students who recorded, spoke up, gave statements. That's where teachers like Ms. Rodriguez came in. Teachers who refused to participate in injustice. That's where parents like Rachel came in, who worked double shifts but still fought. You didn't need 4 stars to make a difference. You just needed to be willing to see injustice and refuse to look away. Somewhere in America right now, another Marcus was standing at the front of a classroom. Another teacher was looking with doubt. Another moment of injustice was unfolding. And that child was waiting for someone to believe them, to record, to speak up. Would it be you? 3 years after Room 204, Marcus Thompson walked across the stage at 8th grade graduation. He wore his honors cord, carried his diploma, smiled for cameras. His mother cheered from the audience in scrubs, coming straight from her shift. Next to her sat General David Thompson in civilian clothes. He'd taken leave to be here. He never missed important moments. Marcus had been accepted to a prestigious high school with JROTC. He planned to follow his father's path, eventually West Point. But that was years away. Dr. Williams called him to the podium. Marcus Thompson, this year's Courage Award recipient. Would you say a few words? Marcus walked to the microphone. He looked at hundreds of faces. 3 years ago, something happened in room 204 that changed my life. The teacher didn't believe me. She humiliated me. She told me my truth didn't matter. The auditorium was silent. But I had people who stood with me. My mom who fought. My dad who showed up. My friends who recorded and reported. Ms. Rodriguez who taught me one good teacher changes everything. He paused. Change doesn't come from people with power. It comes from people who refuse to accept injustice. From ordinary people doing extraordinary things. From students who see something wrong and say something. From parents who won't stop fighting. Marcus looked at his mother, crying. Then his father, nodding. So to everyone here, especially younger students, remember this. Your truth matters. Your voice matters. You matter. When someone tells you otherwise, when someone tries to make you small because of how you look or where you're from, you hold your head up. You stand firm. You let them be wrong. The auditorium erupted. After graduation, Marcus stood outside with his parents. Dr. Williams approached. "Thank you," she said. "What happened 3 years ago led to real change. Not just here, but across the district. We're better because of what you did. We're better because Marcus had courage to tell his truth," Rachel said. "He learned that from you both," Dr. Williams said. "I hope you know how many students you've helped. Students who feel safer now, who know they'll be believed." Marcus nodded. Students still thanked him. Parents still sent messages. Teachers still referenced that day as a turning point. But Marcus knew the work wasn't finished. Somewhere tonight, a black child would be doubted. Somewhere tomorrow, a teacher would make assumptions. Somewhere next week, a principal would dismiss a complaint. Who would stand up? Who would record? Who would speak? As Marcus walked to the car with his parents, he thought about Mrs. Patterson. Where was she now? Did she understand? Did she regret it? He hoped she'd learned. But more, he hoped other teachers were learning. Other principals were paying attention. The system was changing. "You okay, son?" General Thompson asked. "Yeah, Dad. I'm good. You did well up there. I'm proud." "Thanks. Dad, do you think things will really change? For all kids?" General Thompson was quiet. "Change is slow, but every time someone stands up like you did, it makes a difference. Every time someone refuses to stay silent, it matters." "Your father's right," Rachel added. "Change happens one voice at a time. One person at a time. One moment at a time." Marcus looked at his phone. The Hall of Heroes poster. His father's 4 stars gleaming. A reminder of what was possible, but also what shouldn't be necessary. Kids shouldn't need generals to be believed. They should be believed because their truth matters. Period. That night, Marcus thought about his speech. About the Courage Award. About everything that changed and everything that still needed to. His phone buzzed. "Terrell. Great speech, man. You inspired people today." Marcus smiled. "We all did it together, because that was truth." His father's stars opened the door, but ordinary people walked through. Terrell with his recording. Keisha with her voice. Jake with his statement. Ms. Rodriguez with her integrity. His mother with her determination. Heroes didn't just wear uniforms. Sometimes they just wore courage to do what's right. And sometimes Marcus thought they were 12-year-old kids who refused to let anyone tear up their truth. If the story moved you, if it made you think, share it. Comment about a time you saw injustice and what you did. Subscribe to this channel because these stories matter. These voices matter. The next Marcus is out there right now. The next child whose truth is being questioned. The next family fighting to be believed. They're waiting for someone to stand with them. Will it be you?